Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Moguls. My name is Findlay-Shirras, and today we're here with Katie Ragusa, the VP of Tribus Technologies. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah,
VP
you got
Product
Ragusa, right?
Ragusa. Yeah. So why don't you just give us a brief overview of kind of who you are and how you are here today?
So I actually grew up in a real estate family. Both my parents were realtors, so I remember a RE/MAX office more than I do some of my schools growing up. So kind of just.
Where are you from? What city?
Atlanta area, suburbs. If you're actually from Georgia, you could call me out on that. So Gwinnett County, really, for locals. Okay. But yeah, grew up there and just always had a love of technology, and I went to school for psychology, so I'm really interested in kind of how people think, and so the real estate industry side of me plus psychology and tech kind of led me to my product role now, where I do a lot of UX.
And then your background, you actually were a realtor as well for a period of time, right?
I was, yeah.
Cool.
So I sold real estate kind of through college, and then I worked for a custom home builder.
Okay, and then now at Tribus. Why don't you talk to us about the company?
So Tribus provides software for brokerages, so it's kind of like their company hub. So the under layer that I really work on in my team is an API. It can be a data warehouse for most companies, holds your leads, your roster, your listings, your sales, vendors that you work with, pretty much anything you can think of to run your business. So the brokers will use our platform, and on top of that API, we can actually build an interface to it where the agents can log in or the staff can manage whatever they need to do that day.
So when Keller and Compass are coming out saying, like, we're going to build a platform that can help everyone in our brokerage, and I'm sure in the back end they've got their own brokerage platform, are you like, we already have that?
We totally do, and everyone on our team, our CEO, our head of biz dev, our head of support, all brokerage backgrounds.
Yeah.
So we're not in the business to start another brokerage. We want to be that tech infrastructure that really helps them succeed. We actually, it's funny you bring that up. We launched a white paper today with Wave Group about how to fight the pressure of people, coming in and kind of stealing your agents away or tempting them to go other places. And there's a lot of companies who've got some really great tech out there, and we've got a full broker platform.
And it's to help the brokerage run their business. The technology is not necessarily for the agents to help them run their business. It's more just for the brokerage to kind of run theirs?
The agents log in, so there are users. Our primary users would be agents, but the brokerage would sign up. So their whole company comes on board. And so usually it's integrations and tools that the company as a whole will use. We've got like a chat platform in there, so lots of sharing of information, documents if they need to find a resource, just every little thing that pertains to the company as a whole.
And when so many tech companies are out there trying to build an all-in-one or a complete suite on stuff, there's the thought of building it all in-house or just creating a very open platform for everything else to integrate with it. Which approach, do you guys have a blend, or which approach do you take?
I think it's a blend. So we have a full in-house development team, and we do a lot of work on our API to make it as flexible as we possibly can. Like, it accepts custom fields, it's somewhat schemaless. So we've structured it in a way that you can use our platform and you can use us to build the custom interface for you, and we can connect into all of your other vendors because they can name whatever field they want, send us that data, even if it's not something that we use. Or you could say, I've got an in-house development team. I really just want the data layer and to warehouse the data. Let me use your API that you've already built. They can build their own interface on top of that.
Okay. Now, when you guys as a company think about there's changes happening in the industry, I mean, some people talk about the brokerage dying versus the agents dying, or the model totally shifting, MLSs consolidating. Like, there's so many thoughts about the change. What changes do you, as a company, see happening that you're now going to get on the offense and get ahead of and build out your technology to help brokerages out that way?
I definitely see MLSs are consolidating. We import a lot of MLS data, so that's actually happening. Standards are starting to get enforced, so that's great news for us when we're normalizing 150 MLS feeds. So that's a trend that is true. Brokerages, a lot of our clients especially, are working on some acquisitions where they're actually scooping up smaller companies in the area, or being really selective and bringing on some agents and becoming larger, growing through acquisitions, and doing a really good job also just with recruitment. So I don't see the agent going away. That's never been my thought process of why we get into tech. Nothing that we do will replace the agent. It's really empowering them. We've talked a lot through sessions the past couple days of supercharging an agent, making them more productive. So we've introduced integrations like Retsby AI for image tagging and making sites more ADA compliant when it's able to read about each photo, and other companies, Box Brownie for photo editing, and chat bots that you can actually chat with consumers faster. So not replacing the agent, but supplementing what it is they do by not only our tools, but all the other things you can plug in there.
So there's a couple of directions I want to go at some point about, like, as VP product, you've got to build something that people use and use easily and quickly, I'm sure, because adoption is a big challenge. And then I also want to talk about, like, the future of the company. So let's first talk about, like, right now when you've been building your platform out, there's lots of other tech companies who are going to be watching this thinking, like, I want to build a cool tech that also people will use. It can be great on the feature list, and the price point may be even great, but will people actually use it? Right. What are some of the things that you've learned in creating a product that people use a lot?
So you must deeply understand the users in this vertical. I think a lot of times you see 1 point whatever it is now, 4-ish million agents, and you think dollar signs. I'm going to make money on every single one of those. And they're independent contractors. They don't have to use anything, even if the broker's paying for it for them. So, and what they're paying for, they're even more selective, is it worthwhile? And I think you need to understand that mindset. And there's no amount of use it because it's good for you that is going to make them come around, at least the masses. So you have to understand their mindset. Understand that they're in a car driving back and forth to 10 showings that day when they're getting a lead on their phone and trying to get those details so they can quickly call them and move on to the next thing. They're not paid to sit at a desk with a computer and a great internet connection all day long to manage their day. So you've got to really get in that mindset and think like them, and then really listen to your customers. Get people on it early, get feedback to figure out where you're right, where you're wrong, so you can make those tweaks before you spend months and years and millions of dollars and waste all of your funding probably finding out that it's a flop, and agents say, well, it looks good, but it's not actually practical for my business.
Do you have a sense of the playbook that your company runs to get more brokerages to use your platform? Because that's kind of sales and marketing, but I'm sure product's involved, because the brokerages are like, okay, well, I need the product to be able to do, you must be a part of the process in getting new customers, I would imagine.
Yeah.
How does your company get lots of brokerages? Because you guys have like over 100 or something, or?
We've got quite a few clients. I don't know exactly how many. There's a few brands that we're in more than others. And I think it's largely word of mouth. Honestly, we don't spend money on marketing very much. We post on social, great integrations, descriptions on how they work, what choices you may have, testimonials from other clients of ours. But a lot of times, potential customers will get down that funnel, and we've checked the boxes of, can it do this? Could we build this if we want to add something? And then they really want to find out, if we are to sign up, is the launch going to be as you describe it? Because that's where everything falls apart. Everybody says it's roses and unicorns when you're in that sales cycle. So they'll call our other clients, and they're more than happy to talk to them exactly through the launch process. And I'll be the first to say, I don't think we've ever launched a project exactly on the date that, 9 months before we said it's probably going to be somewhere in here.
That long?
There's always 9 to 12 months is our typical project.
Wow.
If we're building the full custom interface for it, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, because every broker's different, and we kind of try to embrace that snowflake that they are, and build something totally
don't
custom.
Quite know what's gonna need, There's a rule in development when I work with my developers, they can see 3 days in advance.
Well,
that's about it. I mean, they can plan out and get a sense of the project, but once they're in it, some things pop up they didn't expect. And
we do a really good job scoping it out up front, but there's just so many hurdles in between start and finish. So, I mean, there's design approvals, there's integrations, like you said. Things come up. Oh, we scoped this out thinking it was possible, and then we went to this other company and they said, no, you can't single sign on into us that way. So we have to kind of change course that way. And
what's the future look like for you guys? What kind of new tech do you want to build? When you think about what brokerages are going to be needing, or maybe you already know what they need and you're now starting that process, like what kind of future stuff are you looking to build?
We have recently versioned our API. So Tribus is a 10-year-old company, and over the years we've learned a lot. Back then, just starting out, we sold to some agents, we sold some templated software that many people try to use the same kind of template that was customizable. So we really found our niche in brokerage software that's custom, and spending a lot of time invested in each company. And so I think we're going to continue down that path. We've launched the new API. It's basically looking at the old version with everything we've learned over the past 10 years. If we could do it all again and better, what would we do? And that's our starting point for the beginning of 2019, is all of the same features that we've always had, but on a much substantially better code base. And so that lets my product team now make customizations faster. There's less barriers and things that don't make sense in the code, or just all of that technical debt, things you thought you might use, or you build it one way and change it. So that's all gone. So I'm looking for my team to move really fast on some feature development here. And then we announced Tribus Capital. So over the years, we've actually had some investments in some pretty amazing companies. So Retsley actually had an exit to Zillow. That was one of our first. And since then, we've taken an interest in more and more tech companies and kind of bring them up, advising them. And it's always things that our clients can benefit from. So I think that arm of the business is going to grow a lot as well.
That's cool. The company invests in other companies.
Yes.
How did that start? Do you know?
I do. So our CEO actually built a brokerage and kind of built our tech in-house. So he, 10 years ago, not the version that we're on now, but he built a version of software that worked at the time, kind of a CRM internally. He wanted to get out of the management day-to-day of agents and didn't want to leave the industry entirely. So he actually made a deal to keep the intellectual property, sell the real estate side of the business, and that became Tribus. So it has been completely self-funded, and I think that's rare in this industry, to have a company that makes it over the course of 10 years and is successful and has clients saying great things that didn't take a bunch of funding to do that, or to get your name out there and get on the stage at Inman, right?
Oh, totally. There's not a lot, the bootstrapped companies.
So he takes an interest in other bootstrapped companies and wants to help them get to something like where we are, but faster than 10 years, and help them, as he says, this is totally his words, avoid the landmines.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. Now, AI, machine learning, VR, blockchain, like these are the buzzwords that the industry is talking about. How do we incorporate it? Yep. Are you guys incorporating any of those deep techs into your product?
So AI for sure, through a few different formats. You know, it has many different ways that you can use it. So chatbot, our favorite is Roof AI. We actually do work with them under Tribus Capital. And then we also have a company called MapTrack that when people visit the site, it actually knows their physical address and can pull all other sorts of data sets about these people, supplemental info that we can give the agent when that lead comes in. We've got image tagging, like I mentioned, through Retsley AI. And so all of those things are kind of at work without the agent having to do anything extra. They may not even notice that it's there, but it's really helpful to the consumer. And then as far as blockchain goes, not so much on the transaction side, although we definitely have some clients who advertise their listing that it's accepting blockchain as payment for the property, and they're promoting that on their listing pages. I actually love what Ashish Antal from MLS Listings is doing. He's putting the property and all of the details and the updates into a distributed ledger in the blockchain. So that's really interesting to me. How can we use the blockchain, not just for monetary transactions, but what else might you be able to store that way? So public record data, great way to use the blockchain.
Very cool, okay. Now, having been in tech companies now and having been a part of success and seen it, I'm sure you may look at some other tech companies and go, they're not doing that right.
Here's where it gets awkward, right?
Well, I mean, you don't just mention companies.
Name names.
You don't mention companies, but so advice for other real estate companies, tech companies, things that you've noticed, like these are the keys to be successful. These are the pitfalls I've seen. These are the things I've noticed that people are doing wrong. What comes to mind?
Am I talking to a startup or somebody who's been in the industry?
Imagine talking to the people who are running the startups and they're trying to be successful like Travis.
So you can't just go get all the listings. I think that's a really common question when we're vetting new companies to advise or work with in some way. And
what do you think of ListHub?
I've used their data before on other projects, and it's not as complete of a data set as you might get from the MLS, but if you're in a position where you're not able to work directly with the MLS, you don't have a RETS importer, or you don't want to become a vendor with them for whatever reason, I think it's a viable option. Depends on what you really need. If you're trying to provide the most complete property details page, it's probably not the way to go.
No. Okay, anyway, so keep going.
So yeah, you can't just get all the listings. It doesn't work that way. We know it's an industry that's slow to change, and there's lots of things that people try to point out and say, but why is it that way? And you kind of just need to learn about the industry before you come in here, because we all wonder why it's that way. But you just kind of have to move past that fact and get around it, do something even with the state that it's in. Like, it's just now that RISO is starting to, really get MLSs to come on board with a data standard. Like, how crazy is that? Like, it's 2019 and we're we still have MLSs right next to each other with totally different data. Why do you think that?
So what's your take on just why it's taking so long, why it's taking so long, why it's slow, why it's behind?
I mean, I don't know. Before technology and websites were so prevalent, I think everything operated in a local market, and that really did make sense for you to focus on your particular MLS, your listings, the types of things that were normal in your area. And I think portals and brokerages now that are growing that need to commingle 15 different MLS feeds on their own website, that's when we started more and more to see the issues of when we put A and B together, there's some problems. And so either the vendor or whoever is providing that technology to put that together has to solve it, or preferably we decide on a standard and that's how we handle it. So that's finally happening.
My final question is in building product. There's the Steve Jobs approach, which is customers don't know what they want, and I know what they want. Because I really do listen, I watch, I see their actions, and I can figure it out. Or there's the, I just do lots of group surveys and group whatever sessions and user testing, and I just listen to the customer, and I just do what's happening and what I see when I talk to the customer. Which approach do you guys take?
If I had to pick one more than the other, it's the listening to people and letting that guide us. We've been around for years, and having been an agent and working with people who ran brokerages and were brokers, I can ask around to our group and produce something like a prototype or a wireframe or something that I feel is on the right track. But then our users will time and again tell me where I'm right and where I'm wrong. And the thing that we do is we're not trying to launch something perfect that's been vetted every which way. We're trying to launch something that we feel really confident in and then make really subtle improvements from there and listen to the client. So a lot of the feedback sessions that we do, while I love a focus group or a longer format session, it is a thumbs up, thumbs down, like 2-second, you look at this, do you like this or this better? Or is this better than what you saw yesterday? Do you like this feature here, or does it make more sense to you somewhere else? And a lot of times we'll find out we're on the right track, but people are actually using the feature slightly differently than we may have expected them, or they may be looking for it a different place. So it doesn't mean it's a complete fail or a complete success. It's somewhere in the middle, and you have to refine it, and that's the whole agile development philosophy, and we totally embrace that.
When you think about the needs that you have as a company and how you guys want to grow, and we got a great network of people who are watching this from all different places in real estate, what are some of your needs? What are some of your challenges that maybe someone out there listening can help you with?
I'm always willing to have a intelligent UX conversation. I love learning from my peers, and I don't have time to test every little thing. And so I love just growing that type of network of product people, UX people, real estate tech in general. So if you ever want to chat about any of this type of stuff, I'm a huge data geek, so I would love to. And we're always looking to expand our development team and support team as well. So if you're that type of person, you may fit in well at Tribus.
Awesome. Hey, well, thanks so much for
Thank
being
you.
on the show.
Yeah, this was fun.
As always, if you have not subscribed and you want to get better and be successful in real estate, whether you're an agent, a broker, a tech company, investor, we got tons of smart people coming on here. So subscribe to the show and be great at real estate.